Hello and welcome everybody to Bish's RV. My name is Josh the RV Nerd, and behind us we have the 345 Wolfpack hanging out today here in Coldwater, Michigan. Though we have these Wolfpacks at several of our different Bish's RV locations. This is one of their newer floor plans, and I actually think pound for pound it's one of their best. Now, it's pretty big. Like the GVW of this is approaching 17,000 pounds. So you're talking big truck country. The Ford Danger Ranger and half tons need not apply. But what I like about Wolfpack is they check a lot of the boxes of the big fancy luxury fifth wheel toy hauler brands, but at tens of thousands of dollars less. And I'm not saying they're equivalent, but I'm saying what they do. They do all the major items from the factory. Like we've got a 300 watt improved factory solar package. Last year it was only like 50 or 100 watts, and now we've got triple that standard on these, which is great because they've also standardized a bigger 12 volt fridge on these. You might notice how this one has no slides on the door side. That really lets you maximize your patio space, especially considering the dual power awnings you have on this one, and that little mini camp kitchen, including an ice maker, so you can keep the drinks going outside and just keep the party rolling. Just make sure Uncle Gary doesn't tie one on too hard so you don't have to tie him down to the drunken uncle leash latches. You've got the option for that NPS inverter generator up front. It has a remote start. It also has a pull start, so in case you do manage to flat drain the batteries, you can still fire this sucker back up, assuming you have fuel. This one has a huge 14.5-foot garage. You might notice they're finally incorporating those like 3 Seasons garage walls off the back, so you don't necessarily have to like close up the ramp all the time, and you don't have to deal with trying to roll up one of those little tent screen walls. It's got a couple other hiccups and hangups. It's got plenty of other good features too. We're going to look at a little bit of both along the way, and I'd always ask you folks as we go, let me know what are your favorite points of this one, and like if there's one thing you would change on this RV, what would it be?
And I've seen quite a few toy haulers that all have a floor plan very similar to this, and I don't know that there's one that I haven't really liked. And I think it's because this layout per capita, per square foot, does one of the best jobs that I think you're going to find out there of giving you a toy hauler with a really good kitchen and a very functional living space. So many toy haulers, I swear, it's just the living room gets sacrificed so hard for the sake of the garage that the living space and especially the kitchens just suck. Oh, cool. Looks like Wolfpack sent us a little stink bug up there. I'm sure that came at no additional charge. Hopefully there's not a stink bug, upcharge fee or something like that on the invoice of this one. If it is, I tell you what, I'll cover it for you. How about that? So one thing I do want to say about the entertainment real quick, they do leave it pretty barren from the factory, and I've got kind of mixed emotions on that. I get that Wolfpack's not trying to be the biggest, flashiest, fanciest fifth wheel toy hauler out there, but it does feel like a decent entertainment center would be something that would make sense here, because I do think you're going to spend some time enjoying this space. One of the more interesting things they're doing over here is you see this little blue light blinking at us. Well, this thing has basically it doesn't have an AM/FM stereo. It only has a Bluetooth link. So if you want to, be able to listen to the speakers off your phone, you can absolutely do that. That's really what exactly it's intended for. Now, this is a 14.5-foot garage, but when we get to road mode, I'm going to give you a little bit of wisdom here for when you're shopping for RVs to understand that whatever measurement the manufacturer gives you on a garage, you actually need to subtract a little bit of size from that thing, depending on exactly what you're looking at. Now, if we take a little look here, you can see how you can convert the lower benches into just a number of different arrangements and features and functions. In case you're curious, you can leave the Power Queen bed up top up, and bring just the benches down below. But if you want to make it like a 6 adult seater space, if you want to make this a 4 adult sized person sleeper back here, it's one of the coolest things about toy haulers. Like, bunkhouses don't fit big kids. They don't fit adults. And not everybody camps in that nuclear family with 2 kids that are only 3 foot tall. Sometimes a toy hauler right here can be that way out of Dodge that other RVs just don't work for. And that's where sometimes I think almost the name crossover or, utility camper can come into play, because they could be so much more. For instance, you could totally build an office back here in this thing. I think there's more than one full-timer RV YouTuber type person who has made a toy hauler into an office because it's what gave them the space to be able to work from the road. Not to mention, you can also see that you have washer-dryer hookups up there in that front wall. Now, we are dovetailed 3/4 inch plywood floor and what is this, like 15 D-ring tie downs all strapped into this thing, so that, and they're recessed, thankfully, so when you're walking around, they aren't really like, they're a little more barefoot friendly. Now, you're going to get to see a little outside sprayer later. I did need to kind of use something as a doorstop because this newly improved 3 Seasons wall that they're finally offering here, it, just the way the RV's parked, it kept wanting to roll closed on me. Now, a lot of people, I'm curious about this, a lot of big flashy fancy toy haulers, they will go ahead and mount a TV on that, like, that's the loft wall up there, but Wolfpack doesn't. Again, they let you kind of pick your entertainment. How many people actually use the TVs that are up there? I'm kind of curious. Now, if we slide down below this thing here, you might notice how you've got those blackout snap-on shades for the sidewalls over here in the garage kind of bunk loading space. That way, if you want to flat black it out and maintain max privacy back here, you can. Although to do that, you will need to add some kind of shade to the entry door. Back here in the half bathroom, this is actually pretty nicely appointed, all things considered. You've got a porcelain foot flush stool back here that, again, I think is pretty nicely sized in terms of space. An adult can actually use that thing right there. Now, they do give us just a tiny little corner plastic sink. I think the idea behind this is that, you know, you're probably not spending extreme time, like, you've got a full bathroom up front. If you're really going to spend a lot of time, like, brushing teeth and all that stuff, you're probably going to do it up there. That sink is just to be able to wash your hands real quick before you go put your bathroom hands over everything else in the hauler. What is nice, though, doesn't matter if you're in a half bath or a full bathroom. The Cherokee family of RVs is excellent about giving us the extra large vent fans there. And that one's so darn tall, they actually give it a remote control to be able to operate from the ground level, which I think is kind of cool. Now, if I swing you to the left a little bit, one of the things that you didn't see when I was doing the little bench and bed demo is this table, because I needed to prop my camera up on something, and that made for the perfect little prop station. But it's free floating. You can use it between the benches. You can use it on the ground, on the patio, whatever works for you. Actually, you could use it in front of the sofa if you wanted to. And you see how if the steps that can go on the back of the RV, they can actually strap in place on the RV so they're not jiggle banging all over the place. Now, there's also this handy little backup camera mount right here, where if you want to mount something, a camera in this garage, what's kind of cool, you can make sure that after you hit a big bumpy pothole, or if you just want to make sure that your load has stayed where you left it, you don't have something, like I've seen people haul toolboxes around in these. You want to make sure your big heavy toolbox isn't just ram jamming all over the place in here like Black Betty. Well, that would be a way that you could accomplish that. Now, sliding back into the living space here, big wide door makes for easy come and go, even when you're moonwalking, even when you have the, loft ladder in place on that one. By the way, something that you'll notice on these, you've got the Coleman Mach AC units, and you've got 2 of them standard on every Wolfpack fifth wheel. So you've got 30,000 BTUs of cooling power. They don't use 13.5s, they only use 15s. And that's where I was saying a lot of the big major stuff they tackle, things that might be a little bit preferential, they kind of let you pick your poison. So that's one thing I want to give you advisory on when you're shopping a Wolfpack. Make sure you consider your total cost of purchase. Anyway, let's look into a little more details. You got the 3-seater recliner party sofa over here. And what's kind of nice is you don't have to take the ladder off to get up and down that loft to get to it. Now, again, opening up all the storage in here, I think the kitchen is really pretty much like one of the greatest aspects of this floor plan, because the way that countertop wraps around you, the way that you have outlets down on the walls next to the countertop, the total amount of storage that you have in this is fantastic. And that is a bigger 12-volt DC compressor fridge, by the way. And to help offset that, again, they have improved their solar package like by triple versus last year. And to be fair, last year, they didn't have an amazing solar package. And I'm still not saying it's the be-all, end-all of solar, but you've got at least 300 watts of solar standard on these now with a 30-amp controller. So if you wanted to expand that a bit, 500 to 600 watts of solar may be technically possible, although I don't think they offer all of that right from the factory. And I almost got classic Fleetwood vibes when I looked over here. Folks who've been around the RV industry for a long time, remember how Fleetwood used to always put like little magazine pockets and stuff on just blank walls? I love little details like that. And by the way, In that pantry down below, did you notice there was actually just like a little alcove right there? What would you put in there? Like shoes or, I don't know, board games or like pet dishes perhaps? Now, for whatever reason, I seem to enjoy these slide backwards Michael Jackson moonwalk hee transition sort of style things here today. So that'll give you an idea of how you slide from the lower deck upstairs here, where you've got yet another porcelain foot flush stool with, I mean, just plenty of legroom. Although they put an extra medicine cabinet. It didn't hit me in the head, but man, it's like right in the face. Like you can check your acne complexion while you're doing your business on the toilet if you're a little bit taller like me, and that door keeps wanting to slide in front of me. Now it's a radius shower, but a nice tall ceiling. What that means in English, you've got great headroom in here. I'm over 6 foot tall. I don't need my head in the skylight. However, the elbow room can be a little limiting, and just like we saw downstairs in that half bath, anywhere you're going to have a bathroom in your Cherokee 8-foot wide campers, you've got the bigger vent fan there, which is a nice find. There's a second one of those cabinets. That one being more of a medicine cabinet. I suppose the one next to the toilet probably intended more for like linen storage or something like that. And again, just to kind of show you, lots of space around there. Now they do a carpeted bedroom. What's your thoughts on that? I think a lot of people like the idea of carpetless for easy cleaning, but a carpeted bedroom floor, when you wake up at night and you slide your legs out of bed to slide over that bathroom, not putting your feet on the cold floor while maybe finding like a pair of slippers or socks or something, some people really like that. It can be kind of nice. By the way, around the corner over here, you do have your TV hookups, and remember, dual airs, 30,000 BTU of cooling power standard on these. They do not have allowances, by the way, for a what am I wanting to say? A third air conditioner. And I think I just figured something out. In a Wolfpack travel trailer toy hauler, that is a 12 volt cigarette lighter style plug. And I was like, why is that there? I think that's there if you want to put remember that garage like backup camera monitor in this space? I think that's why that's there. So you can be in this room and see what's going on back there and keep that thing powered up. Now that's an oddly sized, I'm going to call it some variety of Camp King bed, but with this being a very wide body RV, there's plenty of room to still get around it because this is a max width 102-inch wide body. What's also nice, if we take a look under here, you can see easy lift bed storage, and they actually do a pretty good job in this bedroom. The bed is a little bit asymmetrical, by the way. It's shifted over a little bit more to one side than the other, but that's because you have this closet slide over here on this model with 2 additional hanging closets and a pair of additional dresser drawers down below. So you can actually, pack this thing up, spend a good extended weekend out where you want to be without having to constantly run yourself to the laundromat. Although it'd be a lot quicker if you drove. Now, I always like to give people a look at RVs with the slides closed in what I call road mode. And the thing with a lot of toy haulers, their floor plans, especially in the living space, they get kind of squished down because they have to give so much room and allowance for the garage that everything really stacks and overlaps when the slide is closed. And you see that's true here. Just to put it plainly and blunt as a spoon, when the slide is closed, the bedroom and the bathroom upstairs, they done, son. You flat out lost them. However, if you need to make a kitchen snack stop, the kitchen remains fully functional, fully accessible, and that little dining bar, there's no question about it. You can always use that thing when you're parked. So what if you really got to make an emergency potty stop? Well, depending on what you have loaded and how you have it loaded, you see how that garage side entry door is right next to the half bath door. If you make sure you can, swing that half bath door open and then slide past whatever you have loaded in this thing, you can still access that half bath for an emergency potty stop. Now, again, we've got the slide closed in road mode. I figured I'd show you that no, there really truly is no access over here, and good Lord, we need to clean that window. Little housekeeping needs aside, earlier we showed this with the benches and the bed in the down position. I thought it'd be nice to see this in the up position. And once again, if you want to leave that bed up and bring the benches down, you can do that. But we're in road mode. We want to see what kind of wide open loading space we have. One of the things that you really need to watch out for on these big toy haulers, a lot of them will say something like, 14-foot garage or whatever. And yeah, from the dovetail forward it is. But you lose anywhere from 6 to 9 inches of that sometimes if the RV has the patio ramp gates, which pretty much all of them do. And you lose closer to that 9-inch mark if it has the 3 seasons wall like this. So if you're looking at something, say with a 13, 14 foot garage and it has this, you almost want to subtract a full foot off that to know how much functional garage space you have. Little pro tip there for you from Uncle Josh.
And before we get rocking and rolling on the outside, I just kind of thought it might be sort of neat to get to see a sort of exterior before and after. Is this any benefit for you to see something like this? And it always seems like anytime I record these big toy haulers, I'm somehow always right over here next to the road. Thankfully, this one's tailgate is not dumping me out directly onto the shoulder, but we're awful darn close. So as long as we're over here, let's see what we can see. This year they have standardized the Goodyear Endurance radials, which is really nice to see. Just a little bit more quality rubber hitting the road there for you. Notice, though, that with that front bathroom, kind of front-ish, middle-ish kitchen, and then a rear half bath, you do have dual stinky slinky sewer outlets on that one, so you're going to have to hook up 2 stink pickle pipes or get a Y-splitter or do the little hopscotch maneuver on it. Now, you might notice something interesting here. Well, first of all, it is nice that we have that little sewer hose caddy tube. Underbelly, by the way, enclosed. It is heated. You do have tank heaters as well, which is excellent. You might notice that we have power stabilizers on the back of this to take the wiggle jiggle out of it. But then you see these brackets over here. They're one of the only manufacturers I've seen doing this. So I want to point out that this is prepped for auto leveling, but does not have auto leveling. I don't think the factory is yet offering an auto leveling option. And I have a certain way that I feel about that, but I don't want to taint any potential responses here. I would really appreciate if you folks, the ones who may actually be, shopping and considering buying an RV like this, what do you think about that? Like auto leveling prep versus just doing it on a big rig like this. And no wrong answers. I appreciate any opinions that we can share back to the factory. Got the MORryde patio tailgate system here. Notice how it does have that little walk-up kind of gate section. There is, of course, a swinging gate to close that off, but that's where those detachable steps could be located. Again, you got the 3 seasons wall now, which is a nice new find. There's also flood loading lights, light over the back of this, just to the right of that backup camera prep. Now, when we get up front, in case I forget, take a look at the front marker lights on the sides of the RV. They are also now side camera prepped on these. Is cool. But let me just give you a quick reference point here. Like this little used RV that I'm sitting next to, you look at this light, and it's not side camera prepped. Does that mean it can't come with one? No, it absolutely can come with one. The little mounts that go under those lights, you can get those things. So basically, any RV is effectively rear and side camera prepped. It's just some have done a little bit more to give you that impression right from the factory. Again, great patio awning coverage on this one. There is a little bit of I'm going to shoot from the hip and say about a 1 foot gap in the middle, but at least they gave us some decent patio space here. Now, the front awning is a little bit occupied by those big stable steps and the little camp kitchen space and whatnot, which is why I like that the rear awning, for the most part, is completely unobstructed. Now, you do have these steps, but these can fold away. If you don't want them in your campsite, you can just get them out of there. And if you're on real funky monkey ground, you got those little drop down legs. Some people ask sometimes, why don't they do the stable steps on both entry doors? And the answer is because those steps on the back fold into the garage, and they don't really want to, lose potential garage space or cause you to flip those things closed and smash up your side-by-side or whatever. By the way, with a 14.5 foot garage, wide body, and very tall ceiling, this should fit pretty much any side-by-side ATV out there. I'm sure that some manufacturer has made one giant Godzilla sized ATV, but for the most part, these should work just fine. Little mini camp kitchen out here, that ice maker right there, cranks the ice out. Now, this is simple. It's a dog dish sink. It's not a real sink or anything like that. I do like, by the way, that they did basically put the cooker not directly in front of the fridge, but if you've got like a decent sized pot or pan on there, you might still be blocking the fridge, so keep that in mind. And if you don't like that little 2-burner cooker, keep in mind that right down here you do have yourself a propane cooker hooker to put on whatever you wanted, really. And the blue coily sprayer hose that we saw earlier, I was using as a doorstop, that's where that would hook up. 23 season, they've gone with the tankless on-demand water heater, so that if you're cooking and showering or taking a couple back-to-back showers, nobody has to worry about taking a cold shower, which is awful nice. And when they added the, I think it was last year or the year before, they gave this a mini drop frame below this area so that they could include generator prep without totally removing almost all of the pass-through storage. That's when these started to feel really solid, really complete to me. And we're actually getting to look at the optional NPS inverter generator today. As I mentioned previously, one of the cool things about this is it does provide clean power to the RV, so you can use like all your outlets, but it also has a key fob start. So if you're just like, let's say you're just laying in your bedroom and you're doing like a little boondock overnight stop, or just that night, it's hotter than what you expected, you can literally just reach over to your nightstand, you can grab the key fob, and you can fire this thing up like you're remote starting your truck or your SUV or whatever, and you know, like kick on the air if you have the thermostat set appropriately, which is pretty cool. Also, again, let's say that somehow, like you leave for a while and something happened and you completely drain the battery power, or the RV's been in storage and you didn't flip the disconnect and you left it stored inside and the solar couldn't do anything for the battery. There is a pull start on that generator, which is very, very cool. So you can, you know, get it back up and running, which I think is a great feature. Now, I think I already flashed the specs on the screen a couple times, but real quick, just to talk towing before we wrap up here. Given the size of this, given the potential gross weight, I think anything less than a good 1 ton is maybe not a good idea. And frankly, given the size of this thing and how much sidewall coverage you have to act like a sailboat going down the road, you get hit by a wicked cross breeze. The stability you get off a dually in a big hauler like this, I think it's certainly worth consideration. So thank you once again for tuning in and hanging out with me today, folks. Really appreciate all your interaction and your support over these years. You guys, you're the wind in my sails that kind of keeps me going, because sometimes when the weather gets cold like this, it can be a grind, and I always look forward to hearing from you. So do me a favor, let me know what you think about this one. Good, bad, ugly, or in between. I've tried to do the same, and if you appreciate that fair look at things, please hit that subscribe button if you're new with us, and catch us on the next time around. Otherwise, take care, stay safe, have fun. See you later, everyone.